So on the beginning, I would like to recite you from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad one short verse, which will be the theme of this weekend seminar. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The meaning is, that is full, this is full. From fullness, fullness come out. Taking fullness from fullness, what remains is fullness. So the theme of this weekend seminar is fullness. And this is the main meaning of the word also yoga. Yoga means unity. And we find one state of life when unity is in its totality, and this is absolute level of life. Only one self, only one unbounded consciousness, pure consciousness. It's only one wholeness, one fullness. And when we closely look the nature of that fullness, of that one state, we will find that it's actually two. Because that level is consciousness. It is the Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means absolute. Chit means consciousness. And Ananda is the nature of the experience of that level of the consciousness. So that absolute existence, Sat, has a level of inner wakefulness of aspect of consciousness, Chit. And because of that, it's possible to experience that. And when the Chit is experiencing Sat, it is the state of self-referral dynamism, because it is experiencing itself. And in that state of absolute silence, of fullness of silence, we find the fullness of dynamism, fullness of the principle of activity. So from one total fullness, from the level of Samhita, we get two fullness. Fullness of silence and fullness of dynamism within the structure of this one total fullness of state of pure consciousness. In this way, from one we are getting two. And then to these two qualities we are uniting them. And this is the aspect of yoga. So we are adding to this fullnesses again the fullness which is bringing them together. And this is the third fullness. So in that way we are keeping adding absolute to the third fullness. We are adding one again and we get four. To four we are adding again one and we are getting five. And in that way we are creating innumerable fullnesses from one. And whatever is created, it's not taking out from that one. The one fullness always remains. The fullness always remains. Even from that one fullness, many fullnesses come out. So the nature of life, whether it is absolute or relative, it is fullness. There is no lack of fullness anywhere. But what is the lack is ability to appreciate that fullness, which is the nature of life. And this is the lack of ability to perceive the reality of life. And that lack is removed by yoga. So yoga is technology of direct experience, of making perceiver able to perceive fullness of life in all its levels. So yoga is that which is binding together and which is always keeping unity of diversity. That's why it is said in Vedas that the universe is born from yoga. So always binding one fullness which is created adding to that absolute aspect, fullness again, and we are creating new quality. And then adding to that new quality again absolute, we are creating again new quality. So we are always adding. It's uniting. And through the process of uniting, creation is coming about. Creation of diversity is coming about through the process of uniting, through the process of adding. That's why it is expanding. And the process of evolution in opposite way, coming back to the original state of unity, is again through yoga. It is finding that unified quality in diversity. So the word yoga, actually it is covering all life, all knowledge. It is, you can find the principle of yoga throughout all Vedic literature, in Rig Ved, in Sama, Yajur, Atharva Ved, in all aspects of Veda. Knowledge, principle of yoga is there. Without yoga, there is no knowledge. And especially there is defined yoga like one part of Vedic literature, where it is systematized like science, which explains the nature of the state of yoga and also the practice how to achieve that state. And this is the Yoga Sutras of Maharishi Patanjali. So, Maharishi Patanjali is supposed that he was living maybe 300 years before Christ. So this is one representation of Maharishi Patanjali. You see, it's like half human and half Adishesha. Adishesha is the snake, no, on which is resting Lord Vishnu in the ocean of unbounded consciousness. So, and Adishesha is an example of the perfect yogi. And it's exemplifying the one basic principle of yoga, and this is Sthira Sukha Asana. Sthira is stability, and Sukha is adaptability, and it means also pleasant state. So when this Adishesha, this snake, it's cobra, the lower part is coiled and very soft, to be the soft bed for Lord Vishnu, Narayana, to lie down and rest in the absolute ocean of consciousness. And the upper part is very strong to keep all the universe on its head. So it is keeping all relative universe on its head. It must be very strong. So this is the principle of asana. In the position, you must have the position of Adishesha. You must, at the same time, one part of the body must be very stable, position must be stable, but it must be at the same time comfortable. So this is yoga, combination of stability and adaptability, opposites at the same time. And the legend says that Maharishi Patanjali was incarnation of Adishesha, coming to the earth. And he had 100 students, and he was teaching them behind one curtain, and it was forbidden anyone to remove that curtain, because in that case it's very dangerous, and he can, by his presence, which is not earthly presence, it is the presence, he was in the form how he is in the heavens. He had 100 heads, and with each head he was connected with one pupil, with one student. So it was always teaching one-to-one. This is tradition in yoga. Teaching of yoga was always personal, one-to-one. And in this form, which this curtain was protecting the students, so he was teaching them. But it happens once that one student was very curious and he removed curtain, and they were all immediately destroyed to ashes. And one student was late, so he came later. And then when Maharshi Patanjali saw what happened, and only one student remained, then he took the human form. Because now it was enough that he is in the human form and he can teach one-to-one. And then this was Gaudapadacharya. This is the master from our holy tradition. Narayanam Padma Bhavam Vasishtam Shaktim Parasharam Gaudapadam, like this. So Gaudapadacharya, so he was that disciple. And so he got knowledge from Maharshi Patanjali. So Maharshi Patanjali is included in the holy tradition, but indirectly. And then Gaudapadacharya was then spreading this knowledge further. So this knowledge has universal character, and it is the same for any corner of the universe, because it is coming from a person who was universal, who was not even from that earth. So this knowledge was not reflecting to the specific kind of life in India or here or there, but that knowledge what Maharshi Patanjali gave was the knowledge about consciousness, different states of consciousness and evolution of consciousness and the nature of life. And consciousness is the same always, whether 100 years ago, 5,000 years ago, today, always is the mind, intellect, ego, and Purusha level, silent witness quality. Always the nature had 5 elements, and this structure what Samkhya speaks about of all the universe. So he was presenting the pure science, and that pure science is you can find the principles of modern science present in that science of Maharshi Patanjali. You can find the principles of psychology, of physiology, of sociology also, and ecology in the Yoga Sutras of Maharshi Patanjali. You can find many, many things. The most modern discoveries in the modern psychologies still are not to the level of the knowledge what Maharshi Patanjali gave in his sutras about the structure of the human mind and the situation of human mind. If you study thoroughly Patanjali Yoga Sutras, then you will understand your mind much better than any psychologist. And especially you can solve the problems of the mind, because he is giving the way out. Not only diagnosing the state of the mind, but also how to remove the afflictions or suffering. He is calling these kleshas. That what is bringing suffering to life. This is the different states of minds, like anger, jealousy, or egoism, and other things. So, Maharshi Patanjali just saw yoga like the whole life, universe. Because yoga is unity, it means unity of diversity. So all universe is the state of yoga. There is nothing out of yoga. And that's why he defined the life in the universe from the very far levels to the very inner level of our inner life. And he defined that life in 8 areas. And this is called 8 limbs of yoga. It's called Maharishi Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga, 8 limbs of yoga. And here you can see, first limb is Yama. Yama is everything what is between us and the farther corner of the universe. So it is concerning our relationship with everything around us. And it is representing actually the ethic of life. And you can find five basic principles of Yama. This is ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truth, brahmacharya, living purity of life, aparigraha, not possessiveness, asteya, non-stealing. So these are some basic qualities which you can find in any religion which is suggesting to the people how to live in accord with the will of God. Or we can say in accord with the laws of nature. How to behave in accord with the will of God or with the laws of nature. If you are following these five basic ethic principles, then you are actually living according to the fullness of life. And fullness, it means always supportive, positivity, ananda, spreading more and more. And if we are not behaving in that way, then we are reducing fullness, the quality of fullness. How much our consciousness is less full, so much life is less full. It becomes more empty. The state of deep sleep consciousness is the state of emptiness, because there is no consciousness. It is consciousness, but it is not aware of itself, of nothing. It is state of emptiness. State of transcendental consciousness is the state of fullness, because it's awake, fully awake. From that transcendental consciousness, it is springing three states of consciousness. Like from Samhita is springing Rishi, Devata and Chandas qualities. Waking state of consciousness is we are aware, we are witnessing activity, everything. Rishi quality, dreaming state of consciousness, Devata quality, and Chandas quality is deep sleep, which is hiding consciousness. Completely consciousness is hidden. There is no awareness at all of anything. So that fullness of transcendental consciousness, we are adding to the waking state of consciousness, and we are creating a new fullness of cosmic consciousness. Again, uniting. This is principle of yoga, to unite transcendental with waking. And we are adding the fullness of transcendental consciousness with the dreaming state of consciousness, and we are creating God state of consciousness. Fullness of the state of God consciousness. And then we are adding the fullness of transcendental consciousness to the deep sleep state, that we are removing this shadowing quality of chandas, and we are getting unity state of consciousness, fullness of unity consciousness. That's why the most important thing is in life is to reach transcendental consciousness, to reach that inner fullness. This is the holy grail, symbolically, for what they were searching. You know this from the story, yes, of the King Arthur. So this is what were always mentioned in different mythological stories. You know, of Odyssey was searching also, and Jason was searching, and always was some searching. They were going for searching, and on the way they were getting different difficulties, and they were getting different skills on the way. They were overcoming difficulties, and through that they were getting different skills, and then they were very skillful at the end, and then they found, when they became very skillful, then they found what they were searching for. So it is the process of yoga. We have life in front of us in which we are living, and we have different difficulties. And we are going through that. And we are growing. But to learn from life, we must have open consciousness, awakened consciousness. Then we are learning and growing more and more, and we are finding more and more fullness in life. If something happened to us, if we are just accusing others, if we go to the negative side, then we are developing more and more emptiness. We are not learning. But if whatever is happening, if we are taking this with full awareness in a positive way and in the self-referral way, that we look back to ourselves and find more deeper meaning in that, growing more and more, then we are going closer and closer to our goal. So this is the process through which we must go. We must go through the process of the experience and through the process of understanding. Growing in knowledge means to have experience and understanding of life. Experience the life and experience the life on all its levels. And also understand the life. We can apply this to our process of everyday life and practice of transcendental meditation. What we are doing? We are closing our eyes and we are entering to the state of yoga, transcendental consciousness. And in that sense, our mind becomes more settled, becomes more clear when it is more settled. And intellect becomes more sharper, discriminative value becomes more pronounced. And also the value of the heart becomes more enlivened, unifying value. So the quality of clear discrimination and the quality of unification at the same time is growing, because this is the two qualities of the Absolute. Pure intelligence and Ananda. Pure intelligence which can distinct so many things within the structure of unity. And Ananda, which is taking everything into one wholeness of unbounded love, bliss. Level of the heart and the mind already present in Absolute. So when we are experiencing that level, then in us is developing that quality of the mind and the heart also, and coordination between them. And then during the day we are active. And the main purpose and the goal towards which we are moving is to live that totality of life. For that, our nervous system must function normally, to reflect that fullness of life which created that nervous system. Because that absolute created nervous system of human being with such perfection that it can, when it functions normally, it can reflect its origin. You can remember who are you. You can remember your origin. But only when the nervous system is pure and normally functioning. So other animals, they don't have that ability, because they don't have such developed nervous system. They are reflecting Absolute, and they are living like a dream state of consciousness of human. Minerals like deep sleep state of human consciousness. Everything has a consciousness, but different qualities of consciousness, depending on the quality of the nervous system, how much it is developed. That's why it is said that the man is born in the image of the God. So the man nervous system is so perfect, and we must purify it, and we must protect it and to get this reflection. That's why we must get less and less stress in our life. And we must remove more and more stress from our physiology to make it more normal functioning. But every day we are getting stress. Is the nature of the life. Stress comes because of the nature of the life. The life wants to grow, wants to be lived. The life wants to expand. And when there is restrictions, then it brings tension. And then this creates stress. Whatever restricts life. And this restriction is not only outside, that someone is forbidding us doing something. It can be our restriction in our mind, in our different opinion. We are restricting ourselves much more than surrounding is restricting us. We are not allowing ourselves to live. And we are suffering because of that. We are creating a lot of suffering ourselves. This is one thing. Another thing is that life wants to be protected. Whenever the life is in danger, existence is in danger, then it wants to protect itself. And in human physiology, what happens? Whenever you feel that you are in danger, then inner, it is from the unconscious level, that level of inner life, it's activating autonomic nervous system and creating reaction, fight or flight, stress reaction. That you are ready to save your existence, to survive. So always when your life is in danger, you are reacting with stress. And then you can think upon that. When our life is in danger, why it is in danger? This is depending on the knowledge about ourselves. If we have knowledge about ourselves, that we are just some little human being with so many money in the bank,